expert at every single culture, rather than knowing that there are different cultures that we need to respect. Even if we don't accept it, we just at least need to respect it. Earlier, before we got to lunch, I was speaking with Faris and John about diving and snorkeling, about turtles and colored fish and stuff. So what would you think walking into a Walmart and seeing an aquarium with turtles and live chicken running all over the place? Where do you think you are? And it's a Walmart.
Live chickens.
The zoo. The zoo.
The zoo or a pet department, right? Well, it's not. It's the grocery section of Walmart in parts of Asia. Why? Because Walmart did their survey and did the research on the culture of the countries where they're going, after learning a very harsh lesson that I will talk about in 2 minutes. Why they do it like that? Because in parts of Asia, the people do not like to eat food that is wrapped in plastic. So they need to have something live, you know, like chicken and turtles and all that for their food. So, and Walmart is very successful in parts of China just because of that. Why did Walmart did their search? Because in the end of 1990, they went to Germany and they decided to open a chain of stores, and they did. But they took a manager from Midwest, from Texas, a European-American person that spoke only English and didn't speak one word of German. And all the employees were German. They didn't speak that much English. So imagine how the meetings went. And then they took also the greeters. You know how you walk into Walmart, what can I do for you? And the German culture, they're not used to that. So what happened after a couple of years, they had to fold and they lost $1 billion. So I guess they learned the lesson. So today, to start talking about cultural competence, we first need to know where it comes from, and it comes from diversity. It comes from our diversity. Who in the audience has been born in the United States? Who has not?
Oh, that and we're up. I was reading at least.
So you have been born in the United States or not? No, I haven't been either. So if we look only in the room and we see how many races or ethnicities or backgrounds we have, that tells you about our diversity. We have diversity in my own home. I was born in Egypt, so I'm Middle Eastern, and my husband is Hispanic. So we have a total diversity in home. We both use pita bread. You know, I use pita bread as a sandwich, and my husband uses it as a taco. So diversity includes, what diversity means, a lot of people think that diversity is about a race or ethnicity or a religion or a color, but it's way beyond that. Diversity is about every single unique character that makes a person. Meaning, we can talk about socioeconomic effects, we can talk about, of course, gender and age, abilities and disabilities, our titles. A person that works in IT is totally different than a person that works in customer service. I mean, you will find a person in IT talking about their motherboard and their CPUs and all that, and customer service is more about helping other customers, unless they work in the IT department. But that tells you that every single person is diverse. And now we have generations, the generations going, so, and every single diverse group has its culture. So that's where cultural competence becomes important. So if we want to remember what diverse is about, if we remember the acronym REGARDS, and it's race, ethnicity, gender, age, religion, disabilities, sexual orientation, and other characteristics like what kind of job do you do, what's your title, where did you grow, are you married or not, do you have children or not, you are a veteran, you have a military status. So all that comes into building who we are and makes us as unique people. When we think about cultural competence, what do you think I'm going to be talking about? Race. Silence is not golden.
Sensitivity to cultures.
Sensitivity to culture.
Customs.
Customs, absolutely. Okay. People think that it's holidays, the dress code of every culture, religious beliefs, food, customs, rituals, language. It's all of the above. But it's also the most important part of cultural competence is how to manage our own prejudice. Because each one of us, no matter how open-minded we are, we still have even a little bit of prejudice or bias against something. I mean, I teach cultural competence, and I'm very open-minded. I grew up, like Lucine said, almost everywhere. Every 4 years we were in a different country, since I was 3 years old. And I lived in different cultures, and still there are things, you know, oh, look at that young kid, what he just did. Look how they just drove in front of me or just cut me off. And that's bias. We don't realize that we have bias, but we do have some prejudices. And this is what we are going to be talking more about today. So today we're talking about culture, and there is a Dutch scientist called, I always have a problem with the name, Geert Hofstede. He said that the way our brain works is like having a computer, and it has a software of the mind. And cultures have actual layers. The outward or the superficial layer, then the one right at the surface, and one is deep. So what do we see on the surface? We see our behavior, the language, the action, the gender, of course, the race, and how we look, our color. Right on the surface also we see the age and the style, but deep inside is our values, our beliefs, our perceptions, our assumptions, and what we think, our sexual orientation, the thoughts, and the religion, as well as life experiences, because life experiences is also considered part of diversity. If I'm talking too fast, let me know, because I know that we have a short time and I want to say as much as I can. There are 4 dimensions of national culture. The first one is individualism versus collectivism. What does that mean? That means, like here, we are in the United States, and in the United States it's all about individuals. It's about my accomplishments, my career, my goals, my family. Okay? And then it's the same in Canada, in Australia, in the United Kingdom. Versus collectivism, where people live in groups, like in Asia, like in Japan, like in China. You know, they belong to groups. So when you ask a person from an individual culture, who are you? They will tell you, I am so-and-so, I'm an engineer, or I'm an accountant, or I'm this is where I studied, this are my careers, this is my goal. But if you ask a person that comes from a group setting, they will tell you, I'm so-and-so, I'm the daughter of so-and-so, this is my father, these are my brothers, these are my sisters. So they talk about a group rather than about themselves individually. And please note that whatever, just a disclaimer, whatever generalizations I'm going to be making today is just for the sake of clarifying examples. It doesn't mean that it applies to the whole culture, because in every culture there are individual differentiations. So we need to just to know that. So for instance, in Mexico there was a multinational company that just took over a Mexican company down there. And they had what they call the fiesta every week, when everybody gets together and, you know, they listen to music and they have a nice lunch and they talk. And then when the company